All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today we're taking cutting-edge medical research, cellular biology, and proven lifestyle habits, and we're synthesizing the whole shebang into a truly actionable blueprint for living longer and honestly living better. We're pulling together insights from the absolute leading longevity experts, cellular biologists, and massive global demographic studies that span decades of real-world data. The goal? To give you a super clear, structured look at exactly how to optimize your health span.
So we're kicking things off with a pretty massive question. What if we're treating aging all wrong? Because if you look at the track record of modern healthcare, it honestly requires a total shift in how we view the final decades of our lives. Don't get me wrong, mainstream medicine has had incredible successes, but it has largely failed to make significant dent in the universe progress against the chronic diseases of aging. And you know why? It's because our current system is built to intervene only after you get sick.
Now, there is an absolutely vital distinction we need to make here between your lifespan, which is just the literal number of years you are alive, and your health span, which is the actual quality of those years. The goal of this explainer isn't just to drag out the clock, no way. It's to ensure that your body and your mind remain highly functional, capable, and totally pain-free for as much of your life as mathematically possible.
Welcome to Medicine 3.0.
This brings us to a foundational concept from Dr. Peter Adia's research, and it's all about transitioning from Medicine 2.0 to Medicine 3.0. This framework changes literally everything about how we approach our health. Think of Medicine 2.0 as reactive. It basically waits for you to have a heart attack or for your blood sugar to cross some magical, arbitrary threshold so you can be labeled diabetic, and then it tries to save you with a Band-Aid. Medicine 3.0, on the other hand, is completely proactive. Instead of waiting for sickness to intervene, prolonging a sick life at the expense of quality, we must build a shield. We're talking about taking preventative, highly personalized action decades before disease ever even strikes.
And Medicine 3.0 specifically targets what are called the four horsemen. We are talking about cardiovascular and cerebrovascular disease, cancer, neurodegenerative conditions like Alzheimer's, and metabolic dysfunction like type 2 diabetes. These are the big ones, right? They eventually kill most people. But here's the thing. They don't happen overnight. They build up silently over decades. For instance, a metabolic dysfunction like insulin resistance often acts as a precursor, drastically jacking up your risk for the other three. To live a long life, you have to aggressively delay these four.
So I really want you to think about your marginal decade. That's the final 10 years of your life. Imagine the physical and mental capacity you actually want to have during that time. Do you want to be able to effortlessly pick up a grandchild, get up off the floor unassisted, carry your own heavy groceries? If we actively apply the principles of Medicine 3.0 right now, we can transform that marginal, often painful decade into a vibrant, thriving bonus decade.
Section 2. Breakthroughs in cellular aging.
Let's move down to the microscopic level, because while lifestyle is huge, researchers are also figuring out how to hack the biological clock itself. The American Federation for Aging Research has highlighted zombie cells as a primary target. Essentially, these are senescent cells that have taken damage, stopped working, but completely refuse to clear out. They just sit there. And worse, they secrete these nasty inflammatory signals that continually damage the completely healthy cells around them. It drives a ton of age-related decline.
But researchers are aggressively targeting this biology with clinical trials and therapies that honestly sound like science fiction, but they're rapidly becoming reality. We have senolytics, drugs combining dasatinib and quercetin that aim to sweep out and flush away those zombie cells. We're also seeing incredible potential with drugs like rapamycin, which extends lifespan in mice and is now being tested in the Dog Aging Project to clear out cellular junk. Then there's metformin, a super common diabetes drug now being tested in the TAME trial specifically to target aging itself. There is even wild research into molecules from young blood that actually rejuvenate damaged heart and brain tissue. The science of rejuvenation is moving incredibly fast.
Section 3. The ultimate longevity drug.
Now, as absolutely incredible as those cellular therapies are, the most effective intervention we currently have requires you to put in some actual sweat. We don't have a magic pill yet, but we do have a magic behavior. While nutrition gets all the hype, Dr. Atia's analysis reveals that exercise is the single greatest lever we have for reducing the risk of all four horsemen. It is, quite literally, orders of magnitude more effective than any diet modification. Exercise improves insulin sensitivity, keeps your mitochondria running cleanly, and fortifies your cardiovascular system in ways food simply can't. It directly combats the silent decay that happens before major illnesses show up.
To really thrive in your final years, you have to start acting like an athlete in training today. You need to build an immense reserve of strength, stability, and cardiovascular endurance. Atia calls this the centenarian decathlon. It means focusing intensely on your VO2 max, which is a massive predictor of longevity. You also need to build high muscle mass to serve as a glucose sink, literally physically absorbing and metabolizing excess sugar in your blood so it doesn't cause damage. You also absolutely need to train stability to prevent life-threatening falls later on. And if you want to effortlessly carry a suitcase when you're 85, well, you need to practice rucking, carrying half your body weight in each hand today.
Think about this quote from the source material. Study after study has found that regular exercisers live as much as a decade longer than sedentary people. A full decade. This perfectly underscores why movement isn't just about looking good in a swimsuit. It is a literal lifesaver that boosts your mitochondria and helps your cells run efficiently. It's absolutely non-negotiable.
Section 4. Nutrition and the biological clock.
Okay, let's shift our focus to how and when we fuel our bodies, moving far away from trendy fad diets and into actual nutritional biochemistry. Valter Longo's research shows us that periodic, strategic fasting can reverse insulin resistance and reduce your biological age without the muscle loss you usually get from continuous fasting. It's called the fasting mimicking diet. By carefully following a low-calorie, low-protein, high-fat diet for 4 to 7 days, your body enters a fasted state while still receiving essential nutrients. It's kind of a biohack. Stem cells are activated and multi-system regeneration kicks in. Cancer cells are actually sensitized to treatment, while healthy cells get protected. It's a deeply fascinating way to trick your biology into cleaning house and regenerating without actual starvation.
But when we zoom out to look at global populations with the highest concentration of centenarians, the famous blue zones, we see these very consistent, super simple nutritional habits integrated naturally into their daily lives. They aren't tracking macros, they aren't agonizing over continuous glucose monitors. They use the 80% rule, known in Okinawa as hara hachibu, where you just stop eating before you feel totally stuffed. They have a plant slant, making beans and lentils the cornerstone of their meals, keeping meat to small portions just a few times a month. And they enjoy life. They even have a glass of wine at 5 p.m. with friends or food.
Actually, I love this reminder from the experts. Stop overthinking nutrition so much, hit pause on the audiobook, go outside and get some exercise. Even Dr. Atzias sometimes critiques the intense, obsessive focus on diet alone, reminding us that stressing out over perfect nutrition can distract from the undeniable power of movement. There's definitely a balance to be struck here between the rigorous biochemical tracking of Medicine 3.0 and the natural, stress-free lifestyle of the blue zones.
Section 5. The power of social connection.
Let's explore the final, and honestly, perhaps the most deeply human pillar of longevity, social and emotional wellness. Because as it turns out, your biology doesn't just care about what you eat or how much you can bench press. It cares deeply about who you are with. A massive review of 148 studies found that being socially connected increases your baseline odds of survival by an astounding 50%. This is an independent protective factor, completely separate from whether you smoke, exercise, or eat well.
And the contrast here is genuinely jarring. Loneliness isn't just a sad feeling, right? It is a physiological threat state that wreaks measurable havoc on your body. Think about this for a second. Social isolation carries the same health risk as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, and it increases your likelihood of early death by 29%. That represents roughly double the mortality risk of physical inactivity. Being totally isolated is literally deadlier than sitting on the couch all day.
The science clearly shows that lacking in-person connection physically alters your biology. It proves that digital communication, texts, emails, social media, simply cannot replace the nervous system regulation we get from real face-to-face contact. When you're isolated, your nervous system perceives a threat. It spikes your cortisol, it ramps up inflammatory markers like CRP and IL-6, it completely suppresses your immune function. Over time, this chronic stress raises your resting blood pressure and literally accelerates hippocampal atrophy, which drives cognitive decline. Your body is biologically wired to feel safe only when it is surrounded by a trusted tribe.
The world's longest-lived people don't leave connection to chance. They build it structurally into their routines through faith communities, multi-generational homes, and dedicated social circles. The Okinawan Moai is a beautiful example of this. It's a tradition of forming a committed, highly structured social group of 5 friends that support each other for life. It's not about swiping on an app or casually hitting like on a photo. It is deep, structured, face-to-face commitment that regulates the nervous system and tells your biology, hey, you are safe.
So, I want to leave you with this thought to really chew on. Surviving is an engineering problem, but truly living requires purpose, connection, and acting decisively today. Are you training for your centenarian decathlon? Are you eating to protect your cells? And are you structurally building your social moai? The choices you make right now, today, will dictate whether your final years are spent simply surviving or wonderfully, fully living. See you next time.